Hi, I'm Leon Acord, and we're watching WeHo Horror Story, Old Dogs and New Tricks, little 22-minute mini-movie special set on Halloween. Although, actually, ironically, at 22 minutes, it's the exact length that a network half-hour comedy would be. So it was kind of fun to do at least one of those. We decided to put a recap of Season 2 at the beginning because Season 2 had ended in April of 2013, and we weren't able to get Wolf to put this up on their YouTube page until May 2014. So we thought we needed to sort of remind the viewers where we left all the dogs dangling at the end of the second season. There's a lot of backstory just for WeHo Horror Story itself, which I'll try to summarize in kind of a Reader's Digest version. This takes place two months later after the cliffhanger in the storyline. This is
Let's take a look.
Charles Romaine.
Oh, what?
Originally, our director John Cleland wanted him to do an "Oh my." I think we actually shot it, but then we thought, nah, that's too broad. Prostatitis is actually a real condition. I've actually had it myself once, and it's really uncomfortable. But I thought it would be a great way to get Brad back in the wagon, or back in the saddle, I should say.
I got this because I stopped fucking.
Anyway, of the backstory of WeHo Horror Story. Originally, it was going to be an episode in Season 2. I think it was the last episode right before the two-part wedding episode in the middle of Season 2. When we were in pre-production for Season 2, we kind of realized pretty quickly on that we wouldn't be able to afford to do this and the wedding in one season. Excuse me, I took a sip of tea. So anyway, we took that episode out. We thought, well, we'll save it. We'll use it as a Season 3 premiere. So we shot Season 2, and it went very well. People were immediately like, oh, Season 3, raise money. So we began raising money, and I started writing the script with WeHo Horror Story as a season premiere. But then about halfway through the crowdfunding thing, I had this fear of, what if we don't raise enough for a full season? Maybe I should write a version of WeHo Horror Story that would be the series finale. If we only raise enough to do like one really long episode, let's take the WeHo Horror Story script and turn it into the series finale, which is what I did. We realized, well, we have to get, if it's the last one ever, we have to have Nelson in there, so I added him. We have to have Lydia in there, so I added a scene with her. And it was soon, this really long script. And in that version, the one that was going to be the series finale, we actually learned that Damian did, in fact, die in a drunken driving accident the night of his argument with Nathan. And the boys told Nathan in a scene at the very end in his bedroom. That was only if that was a series finale. We all sort of agreed that if we did a full season, that couldn't happen because Nathan could never. This is a comedy, and Nathan would probably never be funny again if Damian actually did die after he left his house drunk on his motorcycle.
Just cut him off.
But anyway, we had that script. Ultimately, we did raise enough money for a full third season. And then as we started scheduling, we realized we found out we had like one weekend, and then months before we'd be able to get the cast and crew together again. So we thought, okay, well, let's take WeHo and just do it as a standalone, answer the Season 2 cliffhangers, set up a few things for Season 3, and give viewers something to watch in the interim while we wait for the next few months when we can get everyone together, shoot it, and then get Season 3 up. So at that point, we took the version that was a series finale script and rewrote that again. This time Damian wasn't dead. He just fled to Iowa. Iowa. Does sound weird. Anyway, this restaurant scene was actually shot in a warehouse. We rented a huge warehouse for for that and for originally it was for the nightclub scene, and they had that booth stuck in a corner, and we thought, well, that might save time and money. This was our little wink to Halloween. I tried to write in a few winks to a few horror films. Really, only Halloween and Psycho are the only two that are really overt.
Seemed funny at the time.
This is the introduction of Parnell.
What the hell are you doing here anyway?
Damon Marcano as Neal, taking over for Doug Spearman. I have to say, I really, really like Parnell's portrayal of Neal, both in this special and throughout season 3. I think Doug had wanted... Doug Spearman and I talked about it before he started playing the role, and I stressed that, I really didn't want Neal to be the villain. I didn't want this to be a good guy, bad guy situation, that I wanted it to be a real, honest, mature look at a relationship that had just kind of strayed apart.
We haven't laughed together
I think he wanted to play it as a villain, just from those conversations, and as a result, watching season 2, he did come across kind of villainous very well, but he had conflicts for season 3. So we brought in Parnell, who actually was in a 3-way with Brad in season 1. And Parnell brings Neal a lot more shading, so he's not just kind of this asshole, mean guy. This was that we actually just shot and stuck in after the fact. We thought we needed a shot to help bridge. Our viewers are always asking for, scenes where David has his clothes off. So here's one. And in season 3, there are, oh my God, 2, 3, 4 more. So give the audience what they want. Anyway, as I was saying about Parnell, he gives Neal this kind of, he gives him shading. So he feels not like a villain, but just a person. And granted, he does do some villainous things, but they're kind of based in, I don't know any humans who haven't been in some situation where they've done something kind of mean out of rejection or disappointment. I don't think Neal really wants, Ross's house. And you see more of that in season 3. This was our little wink to Psycho. This scene caused us a lot of consternation. I can't remember the specifics, but as originally scripted, I think we were going to see more here. Or there's a lot of playing around about just when were we going to tell the audience what happened to Brad. I wish I could remember more, but there was a lot of back and forth in the editing room in terms of structure and how much do we show now and how much do we save for later.
Yeah, Abe Lincoln, right? You've lived in LA how long?
This is probably the only scene in WeHo Horror Story that's basically what it was originally scripted when I first wrote it. This is years ago in Indiana. Everything else has people added or whatever. Anyway, a lot of the extras in this nightclub scene were friends of the show who either... that nurse there is Nicole Edelman, who's an associate producer. Felipe Cherry, blindfold guy, is right behind her. Carrie Droll dressed up as Raggedy Ann in the background. A lot of the extras, were friends of the show, and everyone brought their own costumes. And in our casting notices for background artists, we actually asked them, if you have 2 costumes, bring them both, and, and gave us like double the audience. Unfortunately, most people only had 1. So you kind of notice if you watch really closely, oh, the wrestler's here. Oh, now he's over there. Oh, and then he's back over there. And you just don't pay too much attention to that. We had challenges trying to find actors who looked like Damian enough to fool them. I figured this was one of them. He didn't look so much like Damian, but he was tall enough and with the hood and the sunglasses.
He must have had a break or something.
Oh, that's even better. Let's
Damian's
go.
doppelganger, played by Jeffrey Scott Basham. He answered a casting notice I listed, and resembled him enough. Had the height, had the eyebrows, had the coloring, and had a very good demo reel. And there was a scene in his demo reel, him doing a British accent and like doing. It was a Mexican Beatles spoof, a comedy bit. And so anyway, when I asked him to play the doppelganger, he said he would if in season 3 he could play another part, you know. And I had already had Dan Carmel created, and thought, ooh, if he's British with him. And so I'm like, Jeffrey, would you use the accent? He said yes. So we struck a deal, and that's Michelle Ferrone. She was I actually worked with her in Carved in Stone. She's another element we added when we thought it was going to be the finale. Add the bit with the 2 Wonder Woman. Here comes Jeffrey again. You know, we wanted just enough to suggest Damian, you know, where the audience was, is it or isn't? We didn't want the audience to be like, oh, it's him. But just enough to be like, Damian, Nathan is feeling like, is that him or not?
God, I hate tequila.
So yeah, this whole nightclub was created in a sort of a warehouse area. And
I'd like to talk to you about my piece, the plan for the Middle East.
Go back to Kenya.
You're a fucking asshole.
that's Ron Butler as Obama. That shot probably got the hugest laugh of the night when they called cut, because you know all the extras were there and just fell out. They thought it was hysterical. Excuse me. This was actually a bathroom. Although if he's really peeing where he's supposed to be peeing, he'd be peeing on the wall in the corner. The toilet was on the other side. If I have any complaints about WeHo Horror Story, probably my only complaint is this bathroom is too well lit. I don't know any men's room in any gay bar that has such bright lighting. A very minimal complaint.
Who the hell are you? Go cruise some other bathroom. Pathetic old queen.
There was some discussion about, you know, does he look enough like Damian or not? I think as long as he looked enough to suggest Damian, that was all that mattered. And there he is.
I'm in hell.
When we were doing the series finale version, we knew we would have to have Nelson in, so we wrote in this bit. You know, originally in the very first script version, the first draft of when I added Nelson to WeHo Horror Story, he was actually going to be in the Deborah Winger Wonder Girl outfit, and Nathan was going to throw a drink in his face. But then we thought, well, you know, let's take it bigger and you know, like the pool fight, just turn it into a fantasy, you know, make it something that Nathan couldn't really possibly do, such as administer a swirling. But because it's a fantasy, we could do it. Bruce is great. He was a great sport. He actually volunteered to stick his head in the toilet. It's like, Bruce, no. And there's actually director John Cleland, who was his stunt double in the bits when I'm like lifting him. We had 2 crew members on both sides lifting him up and down, John Cleland. So yeah, if you look, check the extras in the background, and you'll notice when we cut to other angles, they're in different positions, or they're like, you know, 2 or 3 places in the room simultaneously. So, but don't pay too much attention to it.
You are totally overreacting to this whole herpes thing.
Easy for you to say.
It is easy for me to say.
Exactly. Wait, what?
Yep. First boyfriend after Yale.
Ross, I'm so sorry.
That was I thought that was kind of a nervy leap to give Ross herpes as well. I don't know if people really got that from that dialogue, but that's basically what he's saying. That it's no big deal.
You have to have sex in order to transmit a sexual.
This is another scene that really was not changed much from the original script.
What's so fucking funny?
Nothing. Did you?
One of the funniest things of shooting this, I have to say, is, you know, you don't have music, you don't have playback. during these scenes. You know, you play a few notes for the background to kind of get the beat to, and then it's silent so you can record the line. So that's always kind of cracky, kind of weird to like be doing scenes and then look up and see all these people like dancing to invisible music.
Muscles, you told me months ago I was going to get my heart broken. Well, voila, here it is. So just say it. I told you so.
Originally scripted, this scene actually was a lot longer, and in it Nathan really went off on Muscles. We got a lot of viewer feedback in season 2, like, why is Muscles being so hard on Nathan about Damian and so judgmental? And I had written originally in the scene,
I know, Muscles. I know. He's a kid.
Nathan went off a lot harder than he does here. So, but I felt like it needed to pull back a little because it's kind of like screaming at Bambi, yelling at Muscles and
been so harsh about him.
Jeffrey.
Maybe if I'd known him, then he wouldn't have.
And even with it cut out, the scene, we accomplished what we need to do without a lot of histrionics. So it's I think it was a good call.
You know, Muscles, everything's a Hallmark movie moment.
And this scene is a perfect example of David Pevsner's skill set. I mean, he's a great actor when the camera's just on him and he's, you know, the center of attention. You have to watch him too in scenes like this. If you rewind this scene and watch it, his reactions to what's going on between Muscles and Nathan.
Let's go.
It's great. He's I just can't say it enough. Pevsner's a wonderful actor, and we're lucky to have him.
Car's gone.
This was the last scene we shot at the end of the second night of shooting. This was about a 14 to 16 hour day. It would have been a bit shorter, but when we were shooting the scene in the car, right before we shot this scene, they set the lights up at the doors for Ross's house and not the door for Brad's house, so they had to take time and reset the lights. So at this point it was about 2 in the morning on the night before Halloween. That's right. That's another piece of trivia. We actually shot this on Halloween weekend. I think it was Halloween was on a Sunday or Monday, and we shot Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, Halloween was on the Sunday. That was it.
Jesus, Nathan. Brad's in the ER at Cedars.
We had to add Lydia. The phone in his costume, that wanted to be my wink to the alien, but it didn't really play. That's Jason Castro, who's the guy, the kid on Santa's lap.
They got my number off the voicemail at the office.
Great kid. I love that bit. That just cracks me up.
We're on our way. Thanks, Lids. Come on.
So this was originally scripted that they were going to be in a waiting room. I had an experience once where Lawrence was actually in a hospital on Halloween night, and I showed up wearing this very costume. And it was the dichotomy of Wonder Woman in a hospital on Halloween was just a little strange. A little too much. So we wanted that. We just couldn't get a location. We couldn't afford to build one. So we thought, well, you know, play it out in the car. There was a lot more to this scene that we trimmed out. A lot more jokes. Which ironically, Arvin's usually the one who's like, more jokes, more jokes. This was one time when he took them out. But we also took out some more. Nathan kind of crashes a bit in this scene. We kind of took some of that out too. Keep it light. Keep it gay. Yeah, this was the scene we shot, the next to last shot. This was shot about in the driveway next to our house, actually, at about 1 in the morning, between midnight and 1.
What about Brad?
We shot this whole thing in 2 days. Blows my mind. This was actually, we shot this. This was actually, you would think hospitals are usually very hard to find. This was my chiropractor's office. This was his workroom in the back where he had several tables laid out where people could lay out. So we just dressed it with a few things. Having that electrical outlet up on the ceiling, on the wall up nearby the ceiling is actually kind of sells it, I think. Now again, this scene, I'm still glad we did it. I don't regret doing it. I wanted to do an homage to Psycho, and I really wish I could remember the problems we were having in editing about how, because we were exposing too much.
Dude, I got your text. Look.
I think that was it. Originally, you saw up to that in the first section. So there was no mystery about what he did. And we kind of felt like, well, if the audience knows, it's better to keep them in the dark too. And yes, Rod Rodriguez, a little cameo of our porn star heartbreaker from season 2. Zay-Rock, who's not a porn star, but a good actor.
That's scary.
No. 9 stitches in your ball sack. Now that's scary.
We'd like to see you back here next week. Until then, no sex.
Nicole Edelman, again, the nurse from the nightclub is now a nurse here. Been with us since the pilot,
My balls will blow up
and
like a
it's been a
fucking
great help to
balloon.
the show.
Seriously, doctor's orders.
You're free to go if your friends promise to bring you right home. Which one of you is Nathan Adler?
I was on a talk show and they said that this was like a West Hollywood version of Game of Thrones, which I thought was pretty funny.
How'd you go?
I guess we should have knifed someone or had a dragon, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, this is WeHo Horror Story, shot in 2 days to kind of bridge the gap between seasons 2 and seasons 3. It was a lot of hard work, but it was also a lot of fun. And I think the fact that we shot it on Halloween weekend kind of added to the chemistry. It's probably the biggest production we've done, even bigger than our pilot shoot. And I think it went very well. John Cleland is perfect at this kind of material. Great director. There's Nicole. Scotia Draven, who did our website. If you notice, this is like a scary version of our theme song that we asked Nick to do for us, a la Treehouse of Terror that they do on The Simpsons. Another regret is I wish that this could have actually come out around Halloween, but by the time we got it to Wolf, they actually wanted to wait until fall and release it with the rest of season 3. But we really felt it was urgent to get this out to fans as soon as possible. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. And it's been fun sitting here talking to you with it. And season 3 is coming up.